Because there's a story over the weekend, wasn't it, Hugo, suggesting that there were high-level talks between the King's team and Harry's team about doing shared engagements, that he wants to come back 5 or 6 times. And also there was a quote over the weekend saying that in many ways his trip back to the UK recently was to show Prince William that he could take some of the weight off him. I'm not sure I believe this.
I don't believe any of these things. I mean, this is what always happens. As Bronte says, you know, everything that Prince Harry does gets an undue amount of attention. And you know, even when he was over here, people were comparing the engagements that he was doing with what Prince of Wales and Catherine were doing. And it's very counterproductive. But having said that, you know, I'm all for him reconciling with his father, because he carries a lot of emotional baggage around with him anyway. The death of his mother. He's probably looks pretty unhappy in his present life out in Montecito. I also worry about the children, because there's going to come a point when they're going to say, why haven't I met my grandfather, on either side? And so he's storing up a lot of, you know, emotional problems for them, I think.
Mm. I don't say this a lot. We don't say this a lot about royal stories outright, but I simply don't believe that there is a conversation for him to come back half in, half out, or in any capacity. I think exactly as you said, I think the mood music has been for some time now, at least a year, that there is reconciliation is the goal. It is the aim. We've seen it in the way that there's been behaviours in that direction, and with the kids being involved and maybe wanting them to be over in England and getting to know their family. I think that's the story when you boil it all down. I think that is what we're looking at, but the rest of it, yeah.
There's no harm in them having a meeting. I mean, I'm very glad that he did go and see his father. The King has, by the way, always been very good. He hasn't responded to any of the jibes thrown at him by Prince Harry in the book, in the interviews and all those things. He's left the door open. But if you remember, there was a time when Prince Harry was saying the royal family should apologise to me. No way. It's the other way round. He should be apologising to them, and let's hope he did.
Yeah, we still didn't have one. We talk about this quite regularly. Like, I think that's the only way forward. You know, when he met the King, he should have got down on bended knee and apologised for everything that's happened. I can't imagine that happened.
Maybe he did, though. We don't know what was said. Who knows?
Well, it was meant to be a quiet tea between father and son. But in royal circles, nothing is ever that simple. As Prince Harry reportedly sat down with King Charles, royal watchers were quick to label it a breakthrough. Yet insiders warn the Sussexes might be getting ahead of themselves. After years of fractured relations, the image of Harry sharing tea with his father stirred hope among the public. No cameras. No official press. Just 2 royals and a mountain of history between them. But behind palace walls, sources say the meeting was more formality than forgiveness. Within hours, headlines declared it a royal reunion, a sign of thawing tensions. Yet palace insiders insist the conversation was brief, polite, and far from emotional. And while Harry may view the tea as progress, royal aides quietly note the King remains cautious. For Harry and Meghan, any reconnect ion with the monarchy could be seen as validation, a chance to reshape public perception. But critics argue they're moving too fast, treating a single meeting like a diplomatic success story.
That's a good thing.
Yes, well, yes, exactly. Yes. And further to the mood music and then what we've seen of this theme of reconciliation, we don't know what was said. I don't know, maybe Matt does secretly, but I don't think the briefings have happened about what's gone on in the meeting.
I'm working on it, guys. Right. One of the comments, the reaction to this idea that Harry was wanting a half in, half out, the palace, you know, hit back and said, no chance. As you point out, you signed this deal years ago. There's no chance for a half in, half out deal. You can't do it. But one of the comments was that stood out to me. That someone close to the King and Queen said that maybe Harry's team are mistaking tea and cake with the Treaty of Versailles. This meeting with the King has not ended the row. It doesn't herald back Harry's, you know, return to the UK. Do you think in Montecito they're getting a little bit overexcited about what they perceive as success when Harry came over?
No, I'm sure they are. I mean, everything that we hear about Harry always seems to come from their team. I don't think much comes from the King, frankly. I don't think the King is ever likely to be telling anyone what was going on for the tea. I mean, I just hope they had a bit of a catch-up because, you know, as I keep saying, you know, it's a very unpleasant situation for the King to be estranged from his son. You know, he obviously loves his son. But remember that crucial remark that he made in his brilliant speech the night after the Queen died. I wish them well as they form their new life overseas.
After years of explosive interviews, documentaries, and memoir revelations, trust cannot be rebuilt over tea. King Charles, ever the pragmatist, knows the value of optics. By extending a quiet invitation, he projects compassion while keeping control of the narrative. Sources suggest the king's approach is less about reconciliation and more about maintaining royal dignity in the public eye. Across the UK, reactions have been mixed. Some hope this marks a turning point, a father forgiving his son. Others see it as yet another Sussex PR moment, carefully timed to restore their fading influence. The question remains, is this peace or performance? One tea cannot heal years of tension. But it can reveal a truth. Both sides still need something from the other. For Harry, recognition. For the king, control. And until that delicate balance shifts, true reconciliation remains a royal illusion. Prince Harry's private tea with King Charles has sparked worldwide headlines, but royal insiders warn against calling it a success. In this detailed commentary, we break down what really happened behind closed doors, the media's reaction, and why the Sussexes might be getting ahead of themselves. Is this reconciliation or royal strategy?
No, it's very important. That was his first kind of address
overseas
as king. Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, if we were to believe some of these stories, so if we were to think that maybe there was something in it, that Harry wanted a half in, half out role, how do you think that would work?
Well, we know it wouldn't work.
Well, it wouldn't work, but also, and again, to just let's play devil's advocate and say this: there's truth to this report. At the very least, and we have just seen the best example of it with the state visit with the Trumps, is that Prince William is the heir to the throne, and he is extremely senior and important to the monarchy right now. He is on terrible terms with his brother, by all reports. In what world can they possibly be even distant colleagues, which is what it would effectively be? It's completely untenable. So, and again, I don't really want to put too much weight in it because I've already said I don't believe it. But even if it were to happen, that in itself would be a huge stumbling block. I don't see how they could overcome that. How could they both be on different sides of the country, working for the same team, the way things are now?
Do you think it could work, a half in, half out deal?
No. I mean, the Duke of Windsor had the same problem. He abdicated really actually quite honourably and quietly, and he just didn't fight his corner. He went off to France, and then he thought, wouldn't it be nice to come back and reinvent myself as a younger brother of the king, living at Fort Belvedere, very much on his own terms. No way, you couldn't have two kings. And in this case, I don't think you can have two princes.
What's the main obstacle then? We discussed this in the past. Is it the fact that William won't want him? Is it the fact that Harry lives in the United States, or is it the fact that Harry possibly isn't showing any desire to coming back to do this?
Well, he probably isn't showing any desire to come back and do royal duties, but I mean, he's taken a different path, and he's gone public on a lot of things, and he's making money. The royal family are not out to make money. They are there to work for United Kingdom and Commonwealth, and that's what they do very effectively. They don't compete with the sovereign. I mean, he's put himself into a terrible position. I mean, he's basically no use to the royal family at the moment. Absolutely not.
And all the points you just made as well, and I agree. But all the points you've just made about what the biggest issue would be with him coming back, all of them are significant reasons why he wouldn't be able to. Not least of which is I really don't think from what we've heard from his side a lot over the last few months, especially, is that he's apparently quite happy being out of it. So I think he himself is the biggest block to him coming back. But also, as you've mentioned, he's put himself in a position where if that ever did happen, again, the coverage around him is not about the causes that he would be championing within the royal family. Yeah. It would always be about the controversies of the last 5 years, because that is the attention that he gets when he's back here. And I just don't see that dying down. Maybe, we're still talking about the Duke of Windsor and all of those sorts of things. I mean, these things live on. In the last 5 years has been extremely dramatic.
But the sad thing is he's good at, I've seen him, with out in the Caribbean, he plays cricket with the kids, he plays football with them. I mean, and he looks very happy. He looks much happier, by the way, doing that than he does when his wife's chopping up petals and scattering them on salads and he's standing in the garden.
Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to clarify as well. When I say that him doing duties in the UK is surrounded by that controversy, I would say that's when he's within the royal family, that's where that would be an issue. When he was here recently and doing the World Child Awards and the other engagements he did that week, I thought he did great work because exactly as you said, that's what
he's trained for that, you see. I mean, that's what he's good at. And he was very good in the army too. And he was very happy when he was in the army. It's a sort of horrible situation that he's got himself into. But, many times when I sort of give rather pompous lectures at schools, sometimes I have to say, especially talking about the Duke of Windsor, whenever you have to choose between the path of duty and the path of supposed happiness, always choose duty because it'll make you much happier in the long run. He's chosen this. I mean, it's miserable. The Duke of Windsor was miserable too.
So we're going to squash this idea that Harry wants to come back in for half hour.
It.
However, there is a lot of mischief always being caused when this idea comes up, and it's not going to go away. Even though the palace are saying that you don't have any chance for a half in, half out, there's still going to be people that are thinking he might come back. But we'll squash it today. It's done. It's over.